All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So Kevin Holland fights this weekend at UFC 316 against Vicente Luque, and he had his media day interview today where he said a few things that I've got a slight problem with, okay? Mainly about when he was on the JAXXON Podcast about 4 months ago when we got the infamous 4570 meme and all that, but also another common theme of Kevin Holland interviews to do with his relationship to the title or becoming a champion, why he fights and things like that. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. We'll go over a couple of clips from media day and probably a couple of other clips just for context and whatnot. Okay, so let's get into those clips.
Kevin, right here. So I haven't seen you do any interviews in the lead up to this fight. Was that an intentional thing, and why exactly?
Yeah, ever since the JAXXON Podcast interview, I really don't just do none of that shit anymore. It's like they kind of killed it for everybody. And speaking of that, they still owe me a couple grand, and they always do a bad job of paying me on the first of the month. They always pay like around like the 10th or something like that. I don't know if they have a money problem, but they need to do a better job paying me on time. So, future reference for all you guys that want to do interviews, I charge out the ass now. So, unless you're getting it this week, you ain't getting one.
Cool.
Now, first and foremost, I just want to point out that laugh at the end there. That little laugh was unbelievably zesty, okay? But there are a few things that I want to go over from that clip. The guy asked him, you've not been doing any interviews lately. Is that intentional? And Kevin Holland says yes, okay? He is so fucking traumatized from the whole 4570 event that he won't even do media. And he claims that the JAXXON Podcast killed it for everybody, which I find absolutely fucking hilarious, okay? Because if you watched that episode of the podcast, there's no other conclusion you could come to other than Kevin Holland caused that entire confrontation, okay? He showed up with an attitude. He was the one talking shit to Rampage, saying fuck you, all this ranting and raving about a 4570. What caliber do you shoot? 30-06 Springfield, by the way. But what the fuck are we talking about here? And then he goes into this whole they owe me money bit. Bad job of paying me monthly. It usually comes around on the 10th, as if he's some sort of pimp or, you know, getting royalties or something like what the fuck are we talking about? And then again at the end of that, he says he won't do interviews unless he gets paid, and he charges out the ass. I guess Kevin Holland doesn't want to be embarrassed for free anymore. And listen, dude, I can kind of respect it. Although I don't know how much money one would be willing to pay for a Kevin Holland interview. So maybe he just passes himself off as Clarence Williams III, who came back from the dead or something like that in order to get more money. But either way, let's take a look at a couple of those clips from that podcast just to refresh our memory of how it all went down and how it was probably not the JAXXON Podcast's fault, okay?
My sense of humor. Everybody ain't like me and everybody ain't like you. If people, I've learned throughout my life, if people don't like my sense of humor, fuck it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Kevin, you could probably appreciate that attitude.
I mean, I guess, in a sense, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that for Kev.
Why?
It's usually, if you say fuck it to me, it's usually fuck you, so.
Well, I didn't say fuck you. I said fuck it.
Yeah, that's what I said. If you say fuck it to me, I usually say fuck you.
Well, fuck you too. I don't give a fuck.
And then it's
We're having a little conversation with somebody, you know, see what happens. You know, it's like we're just standing there looking at each other.
I think it's an ego problem. That's what I think.
Think it's an ego problem?
That's what I think.
I don't have much of an ego.
Since we've been honest.
Unless we're sitting across the table, we're both shooting 4570s, we're trying to see who can hit the target. I don't have much of an ego.
Well, I'm just
Do you know what a 4570 is?
I'm just telling.
Do you know what a 4570 is?
I'm just telling my opinion. You gave your opinion about my temper tantrum?
Yeah, I mean, I feel you 100%.
Okay, it's an opinion,
I'm just
right?
saying, like, if it's not a 4570 that we're shooting across the room, trying to see who hits the target, I'm not worried about it. Do you know what a 4570 is?
No, I don't.
Okay, then shut the fuck up.
You'll tell me shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
Because
you don't understand what a 4570 is.
He doesn't know what a
You're
45...
talking about ego. Now I'm giving you some ego.
Okay. So,
Ego's when you don't understand what a 4570 is.
Okay, so
that pisses me off.
That pisses you, because I don't know what a 4570 is.
That fucks with my ego a little bit. What type of man are you don't know what a 4570 is?
Because I don't know what a 4570 is.
Yeah, that's kind of retarded.
It's retarded.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what a 4570 is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my opinion, just that short clip there proves that Kevin Holland was the one being a dickhead. Okay, and that confrontation lasted for like 17 minutes. There's a few things I just want to briefly point out. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this. I've got 2 videos on this interaction that you can check out if you've not seen them. Number 1, at the beginning of that clip, Kevin Holland refers to himself in the third person, and that drives me fucking nuts, okay? He said, it just doesn't work like that for Kev. Like, okay. And then he also doesn't understand the definition of ego, because he said ego is when you don't understand what a 4570 is. I mean, that is absolutely fucking not what the definition of ego is. Hello? What are we talking about here? Okay? But either way, like I said, I think that this proves Kevin Holland was the one being a dickhead, and I think that Rampage actually kept his cool pretty decently in that situation. And listen, there are things you could criticize the JAXXON Podcast for. There are a lot of people who have kind of lost grace or respect for that podcast because of the way they handled a couple of different situations. But in this instance, that was absolutely Kevin Holland. Okay, now let's just continue with some of the media day clips.
Right, over here. You recently said on the JAXXON Podcast that you don't want to be a world champion. So if that's not your goal, what are you fighting for?
For money. I mean, what the hell else would I be fighting for? It's like, everybody who fights for a world championship, that's great. But at the end of the day, they all got to pay bills. So if they tell you they're not fighting for money, they're a goddamn lie. And if they tell you they're not fighting for money, we'll tell them then go back to what they used to get on their first contract and see if they like that or if they hate that. So I'm always fighting for money.
Now, I just want to point out that Kevin Holland seemed to be pretty irritated by that question, and I think it's because the JAXXON Podcast got brought up once more. But this is like a common theme, like I said in the opening, a common theme of Kevin Holland interviews, questions about not wanting to become champion and things like that, because he has expressed this on multiple occasions. And this actually did get brought up on the JAXXON Podcast, where he gave a much more extended answer. Okay, and because he just said that any fighter who says they're not fighting for money is lying, I just want to point out something that I deem to be a lie of Kevin Holland. Okay, a bit of a violation that I wasn't aware of in my first two videos that I did on him, where I would have absolutely brought it up. So let's take a look at that clip, and then I'll tell you what I'm talking about after that.
Like that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Kevin, why is it that you in my opinion, I feel like you don't care about the belt, you don't care about chasing the belt, you just want to fight 24/7. Why is it? Why do you have that attitude?
I mean, there's just too many politics that come with being like, even really when you're ranked, if I'm being honest. It's like every time you get this number next to your name, then all of a sudden they start talking about the belt. And if you get to a belt, they can't stop talking about a belt. And it's like right now I am in a good spot. I get to live my life the way I want to live my life, Monday through fucking Friday. Every once in a while people see me and they know how I am. So they don't give me a hard time. If I'm not with the family, they'll get a picture. We'll be cool. We'll be chill. It's just, casual conversation. Everything's very casual. It's like if you were the champ and you're, even if you're top 5, you're top 5, top 10, you're a contender, you're looking to become a champ, you're supposed to hold yourself a certain way to be the champ, right? Like, people are supposed to be able to look up to you. Don't nobody gotta look up to me. I'm just a fucking athlete showing up, doing my job, and I'm really a barbaric motherfucker. I'm fighting, right? So you don't have to look up to me. And that's how I want it. I just want to be able to step in, do my thing, step out, be okay. If I get a fucking belt, I got 1 million+ followers. There's nowhere you can go where people don't know who you are. You can't walk through Walmart with a regular hat on, get away with stuff. You just can't do anything. It's like everybody knows this cowboy hat. It's like if I switch out to my dark brown one, they don't know who I am.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, I did not intend to stop the clip there. I wasn't going to do that. But I just, that bit at the end there makes me laugh, okay? I find it absolutely fucking hilarious that Kevin Holland acts like everybody knows him for his cowboy. This motherfucker started wearing a cowboy hat 6 months ago, okay? He just did this weird transition into becoming a country boy all of a sudden. And listen, dude, that's fine. I think more people should do that, okay? I actually hold a lot of resent and disdain for city slickers, as I also live in the country, and I'll also wear a cowboy hat from time to time, okay? But listen, Kevin, no one fucking knows you because of your cowboy hat, okay? Either way, let's just let the clip finish.
I wear this one, they know it's Kevin, it's Big Mouth, it's like they know what it is. It's like I have certain outfits I could wear, nobody knows who I am. I have certain outfits I can wear, everybody's seen it online, they know who that guy is. It's like right now I could live that life of being a nobody, but still being a somebody. You become a champ, you become top 5, with a popularity like mine, it just doesn't change. You just absolutely, you're somebody. I hate the thought of being able to go to Kroger's with my son and everybody stopping me and him instead of me and him being able to enjoy ourselves. It's just not worth it. So
You're 100% right.
people think I need a belt. I don't need one.
Okay, so there's a few things there. Now, I find this absolutely fucking hilarious that Kevin Holland thinks if he has not worn an outfit on his Instagram, it all of a sudden becomes a disguise. That to me is so fucking funny. Unless you're wearing like a fake nose and mustache or something, I highly doubt that if somebody was gonna recognize you because you're Kevin Holland and they are a UFC fan, I highly doubt that a different shirt and a pair of jeans and a change in your fucking newly found love for cowboy hats is gonna stop them from recognizing you. Okay, to me that just is unbelievably silly. Now I do want to say I kind of understand what he's getting at here. He wants to be rich but not super famous because he wants to be able to live a normal life, or at least that's what he's saying. Now, do I think it's a little bit of cope because he's not really championship material? I know a lot of people think he could have gotten there. Me personally, I don't. But what bothers me is that he's acting as though he's intentionally holding back his own career. It's like, well, I could be champion, but I don't fucking want to. So I'm going to intentionally, lose fights? Like, what? It's okay. Either way. Now, earlier I did make a claim that I thought Kevin Holland was lying about something, and the reason why I had to bring up this violation is because he says that other fighters are lying when they say they're not fighting for money. So if you're going to call other people out for lying, I'm going to call you out for lying. So when Kevin Holland says he doesn't want to be recognized, in my opinion, that is absolutely and total bullshit. Okay, I think he's lying. Now, Exhibit A, Your Honor, the chain he's wearing. He wears this almost any time he makes a media appearance. He's wearing a chain in the shape of an octagon with the initials of his nickname in them. If you don't want to be recognized, listen, any UFC fan is probably gonna recognize that shit. Hello? What the fuck are we talking about? And Exhibit B, listen, earlier he said, you know, I'd like to be able to go to Kroger's with my son and not get bothered and whatever. That's fine and dandy, dude. I would probably feel the exact same way. Now, maybe the best course of action would not to drive a fucking Hummer that has those very same initials, that exact same logo. So in my opinion, I believe, in my opinion, Kevin Holland does want to be recognized, but he wants to also act like he's too cool for that shit. And it just kind of drives me fucking nuts. He gives me serious Deadpool vibes. Okay, either way, let's continue with the last media day clip.
All right, one other question. How is your current relationship with Rampage Jackson?
My current relationship with Rampage Jackson? Bro, Rampage Jackson's not in the UFC, is he?
No.
Get off his dick. Thank you.
I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day.
Wow, okay, so Kevin Holland just quit the interview and stormed out in a fit of rage. He was absolutely furious. He was fuming. I could almost see the steam coming out of his ears. Okay, and listen, I might be a little bit more sympathetic to Kevin Holland here. I might even understand. I might even be a little bit more empathetic. Okay, if he had not brought up the JAXXON Podcast interview his damn self. What the fuck are we talking about here? Hello? You're the one that inserted that situation into this media day interview. You simply got asked why you did not do any media in the lead up, and you're the one that brought up the situation. So had he not brought it up and was still being asked about it, I would understand him being frustrated. But it is a fine question when it was brought up by Kevin Holland himself to ask, what is your relationship with Rampage Jackson? Because now on a number of occasions from both Rampage and Kevin Holland, we have kind of heard that they settled their differences through DMs and things like that, but apparently that is not the case. Apparently Kevin Holland is still very upset about that whole situation, and I find that absolutely fucking hilarious. This was over 4 months ago. Do you know what I mean? And it really wasn't that big of a deal. Kevin Holland made it a big deal, but either way, that's pretty much all I've got for this video. Kevin Holland is still very upset. Okay, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.